What are you doing tonight? We got Treasure Charger here already. We got Looter 8. Hello, friends. Yeah, 10 degrees here. Wow, that's pretty wild. Yeah, it's icy here. Yeah. Hello, my friends. Treasure Charger. What's up? Looter 8. Yeah, so I wanted to clean some finds here. I figure, it's icy, it's gross outside. What else am I going to do? I might as well spend the time appropriately. The other thing is you'll hear the water running there. That's a steady stream. That's what we have to do in Louisiana to, if you've got an old house that's, from the turn of the century or so, you got houses up on piers, pier and beam house, and you got to drip the water continuously to keep the pipes from freezing. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, pretty crazy. My dog thinks his frozen backyard droppings are frozen treats. Awesome, Looter. Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty special. Yeah, pretty wild. But yeah, I've got some old buttons here. I got the water running because you got to drip your pipes just to keep things from freezing. So I'm gonna clean a couple of like dry clean some finds here first, and then I'm gonna probably get into some marbles and some other stuff. Been having some eyeball hunts and doing some digging too, and I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to clean here. So I think it's a little bit of everything. What I've got here are some jeans buttons. So that looks like maybe a work clothes button. So I'm hoping I'll see like some sort of a maker's name on it as I'm cleaning it, but you never know. And I'm just using a toothpick here. This is like a shish kebab skewer. You can sharpen these things forever and they'll never, ever, ever, one package will last you literally the rest of your life. I think I've been digging for 10 years with these, and I've never managed to go through even one stick, because you just keep sharpening them with a pocket knife or something. Unfortunately, that relic I do not think is marked, which is a bummer. I was hoping anytime I see this back with these, the back of it could have a mark. That's a possibility. But generally when I'm seeing a button like that, I'm thinking it's a trouser button. And I'm generally thinking it might have something on it, like a maker's name or a tailor or something from the 1800s. And I'm always hoping, but a lot of them are unmarked, or they say things like warranted not to cut or stuff like that. Hello, Recovering Artifacts Together. How's it going, buddy? Yeah, so you're going to try it in Middle Georgia in the snow, in the frozen ground. I'll tell you, it never freezes here, but, with all the overpasses and stuff, it's impossible to get out. So, yeah, I don't think that's got any marks on it that I can tell. Just a trouser button of some sort. Darn. But I've found some really nice, rare, scarce trouser buttons with some interesting stories to tell before. So that's how it goes. This one I can tell probably says Smith High Grade on it. There, that would be the orientation. So I imagine that's probably what that is. Yeah, Smith High Grade. Yep. So that's a jeans button or a chore jacket button, probably 1930s, 20s, 30s, 40s, somewhere around in there. Pretty cool. Yeah, you can kind of see. Oh, it says Smith Durham. High grade in the center. There we go. So kind of interesting. Let's see what this snap says here. Yeah, Relic Rat. If you get out, let me know how you do. That stuff is. This is a weird storm that came through. I know some people are really suffering from it. So I'm feeling pretty stoked to not have to deal with all the things that they're dealing with. Let's see, what do we have? Campbell and James. I think that's what that says. Campbell and James. Interesting. Likewise, some sort of a button or snap. Next thing I have here is a shield nickel. And Yeah, pretty cool find. I'm gonna try to toothpick this here. I always dry clean these, you know, just to try to preserve the detail, and it works pretty well. Let me get a skewer that's more sharp here. So what I'm going to do is just scrape this shield nickel off and scrape it down to where I'm removing the patina from the high points of the design. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe that shield nickel with a little bit of stuff. Yeah, Carrie, that's a skewer that I'm using. Just a shish kebab skewer, and I've sharpened it with a pocket knife as it's gotten dull. And I've got a package of these, but I've never gone through one. This is the shortest one I have, which is like that long. I've been using that one for like 8 years. Yeah, so basically I'm going to remove the dirt and some of the patina from the high points of the design here, and I'm going to wipe that shield nickel with just some natural oil from my fingers. I wanted to dry clean these things first before I get into sort of wet cleaning some of the fines. So you can tell that shield nickel kind of doesn't look so great right now, but then watch, I'm gonna wipe it with a finger. You're gonna see that detail come out. See already? And I can even read the date on that, isn't that wild? Yep, if it'll focus in. So the date looks like 1866, maybe. That's got some nice detail on it. And see, now I can then pick at certain places here if I want to like bring anything else out, if I see anything else that I need to deal with. Yeah, so pretty darn nice coin. Yeah, I had a set of Andres pencils. I didn't like the fact that they wore down over time, and you had to replace them and replace them and replace them. And I also thought that it was kind of crappy that, you know, like you always had to buy more, whereas these skewers, you know, you can sharpen them forever, and you can sharpen them to whatever type of point you want or need. They're never going to damage or scratch anything, you know, because they're wood. So let me turn the shield nickel over and do the other side. As you can see, it's kind of cruddy. And so I haven't done any more than just casually wipe that. But yeah, I wasn't too impressed with Andres pencils. I mean, I've been using skewers since before Andres pencils were even a thought in the creator's mind, you know, since probably like, I think I did an article for Western Eastern Treasures magazine like 2006 or something, or 2005, about using toothpick method to clean buttons and nickels and brass items. And so basically I'm kind of going low to the side of the thing. You know, that works really well for buttons, because if the thing is stamped in, if the design or the back mark's stamped in, then you can literally go like that and you can remove everything except what's down in the groove there, and it allows you to wipe that, dry clean that, and then be able to see it. Now for a gilded button, a lot of times what I do is I do the face of the gilded button first, and I wet clean those, because that seems to work best with the soil type down here, with a dot of dish soap and a soft brass bristled brush. And then I'll let the back dry. I won't touch the back like that. And then I'll let the back dry, and then go after the back with another with this skewer, you know. So basically I've got the best of both worlds. If you go after the back with water, then a lot of times what you're not going to be left with is anything. So that was a great cleaning method on that. I can read everything there. A little more oil from the finger, rubbed over the highest points of the design, and it pops right out. So that's the method I use for nickels. You know, 1866 there, looks like. Great looking coin, you know, considering. All right, so what I'm probably going to do is do a little bit of some cleaning of some wet items now. So let me move this out of the way. Let's see. Carrie says, would you recommend putting olive oil on anything? I don't, actually. Olive oil is tricky. I mean, some people would say even your fingers, that oil is not stable oil. But you know what? We all have it on our hands. People handled these coins in the past with finger oil on their hands. So I'm not worried about finger oil. But olive oil, that can really darken things over time. And so I don't really like to use olive oil on anything. A lot of times if you've got a button or anything that's hollow in the center, then that olive oil is going to leak out for years into your display case. And so I'm not a huge fan of that. In general, I think, you know, and there's also this myth going around about people who say that you have to electrocute things. You have to put everything in an electrolysis box, even brass items, or else it's not stable. Well, that's hogwash. You know, these brass items that I've cleaned 30 years ago are just looking exactly the same. And I just dry cleaned them and brushed them off and wiped a little finger oil on maybe on the highlights, and those are all fine. So I don't really think that that's a good method. You know, for iron, yes, you have to treat iron or else it continues to rust away and destabilize. But I think it's people who are selling electrolysis kits just want you to buy a kit and put everything in the electrolysis box. The only time I would clean or maybe think about cleaning a coin with electrolysis is maybe if it was a coin that had been in salt water, you know, or something that was very heavily coated with fertilizer. I might consider doing that, but in general, no. So here's the moment of truth. I wanted to look at, I've been finding a lot of marbles. My wife and I have been out digging, finding marbles, and so I've got this whole giant thing of marbles here. And I just kind of want to see, I've got a black light. I just want to see if we've got any that are, you know, the uranium glass. So I'm going to turn off the light here and see if any of these glow. Pretty excited about that, hopefully. But this field was not that old, so it's hard to know. Oh, we got one there, huh? Maybe this one. Maybe. But that one definitely is glowing. Maybe that one there. I don't think anything else. Maybe that. That's kind of a weird looking marble there. Huh. But yeah, I think definitely this one here is glowing in the black light. So that's pretty cool. And then arguably that one as well. But I think it looks like I've got one uranium glass marble there. I also wanted to check out these that I've already cleaned, just to see if any of them glow under a black light. Oh yeah, one of them does. Wow, that is definitively, arguably the one in front of it. This one here, maybe too. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a shame that one's kind of broken up, but pretty awesome. You can buy these black lights pretty inexpensively, you know, just on Amazon or something. It's kind of cool. I like to kind of keep the marbles out that have any sort of black light reaction. It's pretty neat. We find a lot of beads and stuff too, but I haven't found any beads that do that with black light yet. These are the glass beads. I tossed out the plastic beads. I'm just not really into keeping anything plastic out of a field. Just feels wrong. But these are all glass, and I found this little cold cream jar too. Just picked it up. And a good way to tell if something's glass is, you know, it's got that sound, that dink, you know, when you drop it, depending on size. And if they're plastic, they just go thump, you know. But those are all various kinds and sizes of beads. I think this bead is actually pretty darn old. You can see that it's wound. You can see the ridges in the glass that go like that. So that was wound on an iron mandrel, which means it's pretty darn old. Pretty cool. All right, so I definitely wanted to clean up one of the jars that I found that I think is pretty neat. And it looks like it's some sort of a pomade jar. I think it's probably from the mid 1800s, if I had to guess. So I'm pretty excited about that. Although, of course, it's broken. The lids of these were generally pretty awesome. They're generally pictorial. Things like bear grease and so forth. They had this thing where they had bear grease that they would put in people's hair. Although a lot of it was synthetic or made out of other things and not actually from bears. Pretty wild. But yeah, I like this this jar, even though it's just a fragment because it's of its age, probably 1850s or so. Yeah, probably British. Pretty neat. That would have had a pictorial lid of some sort. Hey, Hunting and Stuff, how's it going? Yeah, really cool. So it gives me hope that maybe the lid's out there somewhere. So I'm gonna have to look up that. It's interesting the spelling of this word chestnut without the T there. It's kind of neat. But I'm gonna definitely have to look that up and see what that is. Maybe Looter 8, if Looter's still here, knows some information about this jar. He digs so many bottles and glass. Anyhow, yeah, doing good, buddy. Yeah, thanks for stopping in. Pretty cool stuff. I'm always picking up pottery shards and things like that. I got this little fragment of a doll's tea set. It's like a little tea saucer. My wife dug a complete one of those, found a complete one of those in that same field. Probably part of the same set. I just think those are cool finds. I've got some shards of glass here that are from various mocha ware things and 1700 stuff. Very early 1800 stuff, stuff like this. These pieces were handmade on a site. They've kind of got a brick mud thing with a glaze going on for them. They're not like anything else I've seen, so they were probably either made on the site or made very close by. But they're not like any other piece that I've found in any of those sites. So pretty cool items there. I just love stuff like that that's got an interesting story to tell. And I've got some more mocha ware type pieces, banded wares and things like that. These are all early 1800s pottery, just eyeballed. Here's this green stuff. It's got the scalloped edge, okay? And you can also feel the divots there, so that means that it is old. The kinds that are smooth are not as old, and the kinds where you can't feel that those ridges are not as old. Pretty cool, neat stuff. So, if you're just joining, I am doing okay. It's kind of icy here, and it's kind of shut down the treasure hunting today, which is a bummer. But I got to drip my pipes anyhow so that my pipes don't freeze, because when you're up on a pier and beam house, you got to do that. So I'm dripping my pipes, and I figured I might as well do a live stream and clean some finds while I'm making use of that water that's just going to drip down the drain anyhow to keep the pipes from freezing. Those who live in elevated pier houses will understand, and those who don't will just wonder why I'm running so much water down the drain. But it is what it is. This is a banded ware of some sort that has rouletting on the top. You can feel that they took a little wheel with that repeated design and ran that around through the clay to create that design. So that's pretty cool. It's probably late 1700s pottery there. Kind of neat. I also got picked up what I think is probably a whetstone for sharpening tools. We just spun that and sharpened whatever knife or farm implement that you had. These are fairly common finds, but what's unusual is to find one that's complete and intact, because a lot of times the plows will just absolutely destroy these things. So I'm actually pretty stoked to have that. You don't find them too often. You have to find a site where the fields have not been plowed that much. Oh yeah, I gotta leave that drip. Gotta leave that drip going so that you don't bust your pipes. Definitely a thing. Definitely. Some of the other cool things that I found a ton of Prosser buttons. So I'm just gonna show those. I'm not gonna do anything to clean those yet. But I will say that these things, people wonder what those things are all the time. Those are studs, collar studs, that has the ball end broken off. And they are Victorian era or early 20th century, but they would have been like, for a Victorian era suit or something. You would have a collar stud or a shirt stud like that. And they made them out of metal too. Of course, you can find the metal ones pretty easily, but The ceramic ones are not as common, and I don't see people posting these very often, which tells me that they probably don't know what they are. But that's what that is, and I found examples with the ball intact. Of course, the ball is the thing that breaks off most likely in a plow type of a situation. And I realized that what I did not do, which I should have done, was to put the drain plug in. So I got to put a, this is an important piece of equipment here, so stuff doesn't go down your drain. Anyhow, I did find something that's pretty cool that I want to share, and that's this. That's obviously an earring that is plated, but what's weird here is that there's this little piece here that went through the ear that was not tarnished underground like the rest of it. And so I'm wondering, my question is, did they use gold like for hypoallergenic reasons for these little loops? That almost looks like a little piece of gold wire. So that's curious. I'm curious about that. If anybody knows the answer to that, just drop that in the chat or drop that in the comments section here on the live stream. But when I saw that untarnished, I really thought that was maybe a little speck of gold right there. Minus 22 this morning. Good Lord, hunting and stuff. That is cold. Whew, wow. You must have some good pipes if they ain't freezing in that. But yeah, pretty darn wild. So one of the things I want to do is get some of these marbles clean. Got a wide variety of these things and some real pretty ones. I just want to clean a couple of them here. Some of them are always beaten up by the plow. We always get common marbles and things like that. But 717, how you doing, buddy? Sorry I didn't see you earlier there in the chat. I get all wrapped up in this fines cleaning. And so that's a cat's eye. That's probably fairly new. I don't see any tonal mark on it, but I like it. Yeah, pretty neat. My wife and I are trying to beat our record of marbles eyeballed in one day. And that's 84. I think it was 84 that we had said, or 86. I can't remember. I think it's 84. But that's a lot of marbles to eyeball in one day. And so that's a pretty one. So we are trying to beat that. I just don't know if that's going to happen. You got to be on a real good marble site. You got to be on a spot where there are a lot of houses in a field, and you got to be on a spot where all those houses had children. That's a nice marble right there. All those houses had children who lost marbles, who played with marbles, in the first place, and who lost marbles also. Yeah. How's it going, Bart? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, so it can be challenging to beat a record like that, but we're gonna give it a try. And there's another cat's eye, fairly modern. And it looks like another cat's eye, even smaller, but beautiful and not damaged. So that's nice. I like it when they're not damaged like that. Yeah, please excuse the flesh wound. Yep. An old clay marble here. Porcelain or clay. This one's clay for sure. Or stone. Pretty awesome. That's an old marble there. Yeah, that's good, buddy. Hanging in there. Yeah, that's what we're hoping for, is to all hang in there to dig another day, right? What's the oldest thing I've found? Asks Hunting and Stuff. I have found some French colonial and some Spanish colonial items. I've got a piece that may be from a patch box that has the coat of arms of the Tudors on it, and that probably goes back to, oh goodness, it probably goes back to the early 1700s. I've got a 1722 coin, copper, that was on a boat crossing the Atlantic Ocean at least 3 times. It was delivered to Canada. The Canadians didn't want it because it was underweight, and sent it back to Canada, or to Paris rather. Canadians didn't want it, the colonists there. And Then the people in Paris sent it back to, this time to Louisiana, and they actually circulated here. Louisiana is the only place that those colonies, Francoise, 6 deniers coppers. I think they were actually 9 deniers, but we revalued them because they weren't worth their weight in copper. So that's pretty old. 1722 on that coin. Pretty amazing when you think about it. But get some more marbles in here. But yeah, that's probably the oldest thing that I've found down here. I found a lot of old Spanish coins and a lot of silver coins and stuff going back to the 1740s, 50s. And some Spanish colonial stuff that dates a bit later than the French stuff does. But it's all pretty cool. Louisiana's a weird place because, you know, the empires were active so long. That's kind of a neat marble right there. But they really, you know, I mean, it's changed hands so much. It was Republic of Florida for a while. Parts of the state. It was CSA for a while. It was during the Civil War. It was Spanish colonial, and then French colonial, and Spanish colonial again, and so there was a lot of that type of stuff to find. It's kind of a neat yellow marble there. Yep, pretty neat. Has anybody been out actually digging, or is this weather like totally screwed you all up? I'm just curious. It's definitely screwing me up right now. I'd like to be out digging holes. But, you know, I gotta stay honest and continue to make my finds, you know, and clean and preserve things. It's so easy to get behind if you don't have the wherewithal to clean and preserve. Bart says, definitely don't find anything too old in Virginia, at least where I am. Well, I spent a lot of time in Virginia, and I found some old stuff there, colonial era stuff. So I would imagine that it's possible to find just about anything, just about anywhere. But there are always better places and worse places to try to look for it, you know. Let's see, Treasure Charger says, I was in the woods Saturday, ground is frozen now. Oh, so this past Saturday was diggable, huh? Wow. It's amazing how fast that happens. That's a really cool marble. The way it's got that hole that goes all the way through over to that side. Kind of neat. Wow. It's pretty wild temperature swings here right now. We're going to have, I mean, it's like 19 tonight, and the high wasn't over freezing today, and then it's going to be 68 starting Thursday. And I think another front's going to pass through, and it's going to get down to like barely over freezing again. And so that's pretty wild, that temperature swing. Strangest find ever. Oh my God. Wow. I found a shovel one time that I think another digger had left in a Civil War site in Virginia. That's pretty weird. I found a cell phone from like a Nokia 6000 series cell phone in a pasture one time here. It was all crudded up, but it you know, it was all there. I definitely found a filling from a tooth that was in an old site. It was a gold crown from a tooth. And I just kind of eyeballed it, just kind of sparkled, and it hardly even rang. It rang very low on the detector because it's really thin gold. And I found it in a site that was probably last occupied about 1880, but most of the occupation was like 1850 and 60s. And that was pretty weird, you know, thinking that had been in somebody's mouth. And then also wondering how the heck it had gotten into a field. Like, who loses a tooth, you know? Like, what do you have to be doing to lose a tooth or to lose a crown? Like eating pecans, you know, like trying to crack a pecan with your teeth. I don't know. That's a nice marble. I like that one a lot. Really kind of cool. Very cool. Yeah, pretty weird. Bart says, my oldest marble is from the 1800s, ceramic made in Germany. That's awesome. So like a porcelain marble, Bart, or is it like a glass, one of the kind of glass German swirl kind? I don't find many of the swirl kind, but I do find a couple of the ceramic ones. So like, let me know if it looks like this one here, this white ceramic kind or not. We find some of those sometimes. I think some of the same people that made these also made the doll arms and legs and things like that. So similar kind of material. It's kind of cool. My wife found this nice shooter marble. That's a larger size than the other ones. You can see just a regular size marble is like right here. Let me get a better example here. A regular size marble would be like this. So, oh, porcelain with pinstripes. That is cool. Was it like hand painted, or was it like in the design of in the actual material? Or I've only got one hand painted one. No, I think I have two of that porcelain type, and I've had gone many years without any, and then I found both of them on the same site so I think they were part of the same set. You find that sometimes where you get marbles that are part of the same set. That's kind of a nice larger marble there. One of the other things I wanted to clean up here was this, I think this is off of a fruit jar or something like that. I think it says Presto. Yeah, it says Presto. I don't know what that's from. Maybe some sort of product that had that on it. I thought it was maybe a canning jar lid when I first picked it up. Hey, Dirt Clod, how's it going, buddy? Hey, Kenny. The brownish one I just cleaned might be uranium glass. I just went through here. Actually, Kenny, you weren't here when I did this earlier, but I have a black light, and let me show you all here. I went through these and all of these and looking for ones that phosphoresce, and I see one that's kind of a broken one that's right there, and then arguably that one there as well, but it's not very bright. But I found one that was very bright in here. That's a little deceptive. It's not as bright here in person as it is via video, but I found one here. Oh, there it is. See that? That's crazy. Like, that's definitely one. That's uranium glass. Look at that. Like nothing else in there. Maybe that a little bit, but that's like definitive. And it's unfortunately broken, so that's a shame. But yeah, for sure. None of these others. And out of the marbles that we've dug, let's see. I'm gonna go get a jar here. I have a jar from just 2023. It's one of 2 jars worth that we found. That's like a whole jar worth, right? You know, like, and so I always look just to see, you know, if there's one that's broken that arguably might phosphoresce some. Don't see any there. Don't see any there. You know, but there's like 2 jars worth that I have found. You know, lots of Benningtons and other things in 2023. I started trying to keep track, because I'm trying to keep track of how many marbles we dig in a year, and it's kind of tough to know without actually recording all of it. But I would imagine we probably eyeball at least 500 a year. So I've been doing this in Louisiana now for 12 years, so that's 6,000 marbles. So that's a lot of jars. I've probably got 10 canning jars, and I've got some real nice ones that I kind of put to the side and saved, that are kind of, you know, nice quality marbles that weren't damaged or were unusual. You know, you dig that many marbles and eyeball that many marbles, and you start to notice what's unusual, you know. Oh yeah, TC, yeah, Treasure Charger. You keep track every time we're singing the Bennington Marble song. Wow, yeah. It's definitely an earworm, but pretty cool. Yeah, Bart, the same hole as a flat button. I don't doubt that at all. Those marbles can be pretty old. This says Presto on the glass, and I don't know what that's from. Maybe one of you all can tell me or leave a comment. I thought it was a canning jar lid. It's got a little crack in it. but I wonder if that was on some sort of product of the same name. Kind of cool stuff. I also wanted to clean, I might clean a little bead here while I'm at it. I've got some of these glass beads that I think are pretty neat. I always just use a brass safety pin, large brass safety pin to kind of poke through the holes on these because it's so much easier. I do clean all of those. I clean every pipe stem that I find, and I clean every crosser button that I dig. Pipe stems, you got to let them dry, otherwise they will totally mold. By the way, just letting you know. Been there, done that. Don't let your pipe stems mold, people. Don't let your clay pipe stems mold. So Presto made pressure canners. Well, that makes sense. This is a tiny little bead here, a little glass bead. Pretty cool. A little blue glass bead. It's not faceted, but it definitely looks old. I got a couple here that are like seed bead size. Kind of interesting. And so one of these is this one that's like a little tiny, almost a speck. I'm surprised I even saw it on the ground, but kind of interesting there. So pretty neat. Blue glass. That's interesting about Presto and canning. That makes a lot of sense. And I'm definitely gonna have to check that out and see if I can find more about that. Here's a little red bead. It's kind of got some discoloration. I wonder if that's from being in the ground or if it's from, maybe it had some sort of fire damage. Kind of interesting. Little red thing. Some of these I'm just like wondering how in the world I even see those and even catch them to eyeball them. Pretty wild. And I did actually eyeball a setting from a ring. Pretty wild. And I just want to show you all that. I've got this, I'm not going to take it out of this little thing here, but over to the left, that's a gemstone. The right thing here, the blue thing, is also a gemstone. Now, I don't know whether that's genuine or not, but that's definitely a ring setting. And I just looked down and saw something kind of glistening, and that was definitely a ring setting. It's probably paste. I don't know what this one is. This may be glass too, but pretty wild. Good. Google Images confirms canning jar lid. Okay, I kind of figured that. I just didn't quite know for sure, and wasn't quite certain. I'll do one more bead here before I jump to something else. This is a kind of a weird shape. Yeah, pretty wild. Pretty wild. And Presto made canning jars and bow tie / porcelain lids. Very cool. Yeah, interesting information. Well, that totally makes sense. So now I know what that is. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Shannon and Treasure Charger. I really appreciate that. Dirt Claw, you also suggested that too. Yeah, thank you all for that info. It's interesting, like, my mind always races when I'm trying to find things out, but it's a nice glass bead there. Sometimes you just see a fleck of color and you just kind of wonder if something is a bead or not. Like this one, sometimes you wonder if it's a marble or a bead. But, it's pretty wild. Half the time I'm like, oh, it's going to be a marble, but it's actually a bead, or vice versa. And you also get better results if you soak these first, by the way. I'm getting the insides of them clean. But pretty nice there. Yeah, hey, Shannon, that's all right. Perfectly okay. This was an impromptu thing. I just figured I would, since I had to drip my water, I might as well just use it for some benefit instead of no benefit. I also wanted to clean this black bead here that has all of the lines in it, like it's been wound on a mandrel. That's pretty cool. Not sure what that is, but it's definitely old. Yep, definitely an old bead of some sort there. Wow. Almost looks like it's been plow mangled, but yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, the real question is, what were you eating there, Shannon? You know, like, tell us. Don't hold out. You know, if it was a steak, you know, we want to be jealous. If it was a bowl of rice or some tofu, then maybe not so much. But yeah, do tell. I'm getting ready for dinner here myself. Then I wanted to show this off here. This is a bell from a chiming alarm clock or similar. Notice it looks like tomback. It's kind of silver colored out of the ground. That's because that's bell metal. Bell metal is an alloy that's similar in color to tomback, but evidently it had a real sweet sound when it was struck. And so you find these. They're out of chiming alarm clocks and other types of things. People call them bicycle bells, but they're really not. They're out of chiming clocks of various types, 7-day wind-up clocks and wooden cased clocks, because you find these in the same sites where you find the pieces of the clocks, the gears and winders and things like that. And so that's exactly what that is. It's a nice example. Usually when they're plow struck, they just shatter. Shannon says, ice cold weather here, fried eggs, grits, and homemade cheesy biscuits. Oh man, that actually sounds really good. My wife made a lasagna, so I'm going to be out of here in a bit to eat that. So I get you. Yeah, comfort food day for sure. You can also notice that on this bell metal stuff, and as well as tomback and some of those other similar alloys, that it gets this green here when it's fertilizer damaged, and you can just kind of scrape the green off. But that's one of the signs that that's what you're dealing with. That's the alloy that you're dealing with. So anyhow, there's that, and I just wanted to show that to everybody. I'm going to do maybe a couple more marbles here, and I think I'm going to go eat. But I'm going to pull out a couple of nice looking ones that don't have any damage. Yeah, baking weather. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, put some stuff in the... Oh, DC's eating lasagna too. Nice. It's a lasagna day. Very cool. Yeah, Shannon, no harm, no foul. Yeah, that all sounds real good. I'm starving. Like I ate I don't know, 8 hours ago. So, yeah, very cool marble there. I like that. This one looked very similar to another one that I already just cleaned. You know, a lot of times you'll find marbles from the same set. So if you find a really scarce marble, you can search around and have a reasonable likelihood of maybe finding another one. You know, depending on whether the kids had a set or whether they won that marble off of somebody else. Pretty cool. This is like a white or a pink, kind of pale pink clay marble. So that's actually some sort of glazed clay. Pretty cool. Yeah, baking weather. Yeah, bake some cookies. bake some pies. Sit around and yeah, pretty cool. Yep. Well, I've still got a lot left here, and I think I'm just going to have to do these later, but the sink will be dripping for some time, so I've got to avoid this freeze like the plague. Yeah, the red, white, and blue is probably a keeper. I like those colors. That marble doesn't run. Anyhow, yep. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, well, I think I'm going to probably call it an evening. If y'all didn't catch the shield nickel being clean and some of the things that I talked about, a toothpick method to clean, go back and watch the first part of this live stream when it comes up. And yeah, happy to share finds and have a little hangout here. I'm sure I'll catch a lot of you all on my video on Friday. I got a good video coming up, and I got some phenomenal finds coming up. I got a friend in town named Birdman, and we hunted for about 3 days and found some amazing finds. So definitely catch that out. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. By the way, I do have finally super chats available, and I have memberships available for the first time on my channel. I finally have enough watch hours. Imagine that. After 15 years of being on YouTube. Yeah, so y'all take care, and I'll catch you all on the next. Have a good night.